Greetings everyone, how are we all doing today? Today we're doing things a little bit differently because I realized that a lot of my subscribers are actually beginners. So I thought this video would come in very handy for you guys. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I've developed my color negative film at home, and I'll be using the Tetenal C41 development kit that you use for home development. And yeah, so just as a disclaimer to all you film justice warriors out there, I know you guys are really clever, you guys are really smart, and you guys know everything, but just know that this is how I do my film development at home. You have your way of doing things, I have my way, and that's cool. So if you guys could, anyway. So what you guys are seeing me doing here is that I'm rewinding the film back into the canister, but I'm leaving a bit of the leader out. And just like that, because this will come in very handy when we're loading the film reel. And with the scissors there, I'm going to snip off that little bit of leader so I create a straight cut. I've got, for some reason I didn't get a shot of that, but you'll see me do that in a second. Just get my camera out the way, okay. Alright, and now I'm going to put on some nitrile gloves because I don't want my grubby little fingerprints smudging up my film as I'm loading the film. So yeah, just one on, get the second one on. So I've got a box of these. I've got like I think it comes in like a box of like 100 or so. So yeah, I just stock up on them, and there we go. And there you go. That's a straight cut that I did with scissors. And now I'm preloading this because this is the hardest bit of film reeling. Loading the film, getting that first bit on and getting it started. So I do it outside, and then I get everything in, the scissors in there. I load the film onto the reel, and then while that's on, I trim it, and then put the entire thing into the development tank. And now we're ready to rock and roll with the development. So there you go. Development tank loaded. Now I'm going to fill up a kettle, fill it up to the top, put it on the boil, and whilst that's boiling, I get my development tank and I get it ready for the pre-soak. And I pre-soak it with just some warm water, warm to the touch. I don't take the temperature of it, and basically I'm following the instructions of the manual. That's all I'm doing. Just fill it up. So there are two temperatures that you can develop your film at. Tetenal offer two options. You can either develop it at 38 degrees, and that's a quicker development time, but they say that you get uneven results with that. You're more likely to get uneven results at that temperature. So I develop it at their other recommendation, which is at 30 degrees. And that's Celsius, by the way, 30 degrees Celsius. So there are three chemicals that you make beforehand, and you store them in, I'd store them in glass bottles. I think that's the best way of storing them. You can get brown glass bottles online. These ones are all 1 litre glass bottles. And now this is how I save a ton of water. You fill it up so I place all the chemicals into a mixing bowl, and I fill it up with boiling water halfway, and I agitate it just from time to time. And even though I set the timer for 4 minutes, at 2.5 minutes I check the temperature of the developer, and as it's approaching 30 degrees, not when it hits it, but as it's approaching it, I take it out because I know that it will continue to get warmer. And I also take out the Blix because I know it will retain its heat even when it's out. So
hey Siri, set timer 8 minutes.
So I dump the pre-soaking water completely empty, and I put in the developer, and I agitate it every 30 seconds, and it develops for 8 minutes. After 8 minutes, I pour the developer back into its home, back into the development glass bottle, and I give it a quick rinse, just because I don't want any developer getting into the Blix. I don't want any cross-contamination. Then I completely shake it out thoroughly to make sure there's no excess water.
Hey Siri,
because I don't want my Blix being diluted. I put the Blix in and I develop that for 6 minutes, agitating for every 30 seconds. So what the Blix does is actually it fixes the developer. So the developer develops the film and the Blix fixes it. So now we need to rinse the Blix off of the film. If you don't do this, you're gonna see like you'll see it in the scans. So we need to thoroughly wash it. I wash it 4 times. The first time I agitate it 5 times, second time 10 times, and the third and fourth wash I agitate it 20 times. And then last step is
timer 1 minute.
Is the stabilizer. This is the home stretch. We only use the stabilizer for a minute. And there you go, it's done. You don't rinse this, you don't rinse the stabilizer off, you want to leave the stabilizer on the film. That's a big mistake I used to make. Don't wash off the stabilizer. The squeegee. And there you go, guys. Sexy developed film. And now I use a clothing horse to dry my film on. I just find it way easier than, it's just way easier this way. And the key thing about the stabilizer is that it acts like a wetting agent, so it helps stop dust clinging onto it as it dries. And that's it, guys. So the reason why I use this method where I kind of create like an immersion bath is because when I first started out, when I first tried out color film development at home, I realized that I was using a ton of water, like an absurd amount of water, 20-30 liters of water, and I just thought that was just way too wasteful. So I've used this mixing bowl method, immersion bath method, because I find that I just save a ton of water. I use, whereas before I was using about 20-30 liters, this time I'm using about maybe 10 liters of water in total. And the thing is with these glass bottles is that they retain their warmth pretty well. So as soon as it hits 30 degrees, I take it out of the water and I know it's going to stay at around 30 degrees. It doesn't have to be exactly 30 degrees. In the manual it does say that it's plus or minus 30 degrees by plus or minus half a degree. You also notice that I left the stabilizer in the boiling water. That's because the stabilizer doesn't have to be exactly 30 degrees. The stabilizer can be used between 30 to 45 degrees, and I know that it won't get hotter than the 45 degrees even if it's just sitting in the boiling water, because the boiling water will reduce in temperature over time. So I know that it's not going to get hotter than 45 degrees at any point. Part 2 will be me showing you guys how I scan my film, and then part 3 will obviously be how I edit the film. Ooh, controversial, I know. Anyway guys, if you like the video, comment down below what you guys thought. Hopefully you guys find this informative and helpful and sort of make you see that it's not that hard to develop film at home. It's not scary, it's very doable, very easy. You'll save a ton of money. That's all, guys. Follow me on Instagram at Zain Shoots Film. Check out my portfolio at zainreezer.com. With all that said and done, keep learning, keep shooting. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.